Well, on Tuesday, the state of Illinois lost an appeal over its recent firearms ban. So the temporary restraining order that was issued last month will be upheld. If you remember, the restraining order was put forth by Attorney General Tom DeVore, Attorney General candidate Tom DeVore. It was in response to the newly enacted ban on firearms in high-capacity magazines, which was signed into law by Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. We've been tracking this legal battle since the beginning on the show and have had Tom DeVore on to discuss it several times. While on the show, he's expressed confidence that he has a solid case against Pritzker, which so far has proven to be true. His next step now is this. DeVore wrote yesterday, on behalf of our clients, we're sending subpoenas to each of the sponsors of the gun bill. We want to see all text messages, emails, and documents all of these sponsors have in regard to the bill. Let's see what they were talking about. I also want to add that Illinois is facing several other lawsuits challenging this ban, including one from the NRA. Joining me now to react to this is Timcast News contributor Josie Glabich, aka the Red-Headed Libertarian. Josie, it's great to have you on the show. Pritzker has been a bit more on the nose about his spite for the Second Amendment, and it is not being tolerated thus far by the more than 800 plaintiffs who are represented in this lawsuit against him for his so-called assault weapons ban. Do you think that this law ultimately is going to be repealed?
I think it is. I like what the judge who ruled on it said. He said in his ruling that the plaintiffs are being immediately and irreparably harmed each day, and their fundamental right to bear arms is being denied. And I think that that's really promising that it could be denied. And I know that this case was brought forth because they actually cited a violation to the Equal Protection Clause, if I'm not mistaken, because it allowed some groups to have guns, but not other groups to have guns based on their occupation or their training. Like I believe retired law enforcement was allowed to have whatever the banned guns are, but everybody else couldn't.
Yeah, and putting equal protection aside and all of this, if you peel back the onion all the way to the core, there's this pesky little thing that I believe you might have behind you, Josie, in your frame, called the Constitution of the United States. And there's this thing in the Constitution called amendments, and there is a Second Amendment that says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, I'm no legal scholar, but I think the founders meant what they wrote, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They absolutely did. It was actually the Fourth Amendment is where it started. And then they got rid of a couple of amendments that didn't pass, and it became the Second Amendment. But yeah, they didn't stutter. They didn't stutter. It's very clear. It will not be infringed.
Now, there's a man by the name of Dash Dabrowski. He is a poli-sci and history student at UCLA, has a pretty big following on Twitter. He also has a podcast called The Gen Z Perspective, and he apparently has not gotten the message from our founding fathers because he tweeted out recently, I've tried, but I really can't think of any legitimate justification for any human being needing to own an assault weapon. Now, Dash, if you know anything about this guy, him exhausting his mental capacity on any number of issues is really not saying much. That's a pretty low bar, but he is apparently not aware of any justification for owning an assault weapon. Do you have any justification, Josie, that you can shed light on?
Well, it's not the Bill of Needs, it's the Bill of Rights. If I want to own an assault weapon, I can own an assault weapon. If I want to own a cannon, I can own a cannon. If I want to there's a clause in the Constitution that the Congress has the power to make people into pirates if they want to, if there's like a battle overseas. So that means if I want to own a ship with guns on it, I can do that. So there's no reason that I can't, and I don't care if I need it. I want it. It's my right. I can have it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well put. Now, I want to switch gears and also mention this article. This is a little more of a cultural update. Steph Curry, this is from Outkick News. Steph Curry, the Biden-supporting Democrat, writes a letter opposing low-income housing development next to his $30 million mansion. They're trying to build low-income houses in his neighborhood, and he is saying, oh, no, 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 no. I don't want to actually suffer the consequences of this administration's policies, of Democratic policies that I have been voting for and that I've been endorsing. He wrote a letter in regards to this saying, we hesitate to add to the not in our backyard literally rhetoric, but we wanted to send a note before today's meeting. Safety and privacy for us and our kids continues to be our top priority, and one of the biggest reasons we chose Atherton as a home. We kindly ask that the town adopts the new housing element without inclusion of 23 Oakwood. Josie, what do you make of Steph Curry? I guess housing for me, but not for thee, right?
Well, he is objectively right about the crime statistics in lower income communities. There's more crime. I mean, he's right, but his hesitance, it amplifies the duplicity of the moralistic left. So when it comes to the left, double standards don't register with them in the way that they register with you and I. I have integrity, you have integrity. So if something goes against our core values, we're not going to want to endorse it, right? But when it comes to the left, they don't have that. They don't have that. Their consistency is not found within their own integrity. But whether or not it's going to lead to their two-caste system, communism, or whatever the heck that they're trying to do right now. So as long as whatever they're trying to do moves the goal forward, then they can behave as inconsistently and as with little integrity as they want to, because it's not about integrity. It's about this bigger goal.
Yeah, well, and this especially doesn't help his case, considering back in 2021, we actually have the headline of it. Steph Curry joined 90 to 0, which is a nonprofit focused on closing the racial wealth gap. Josie, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, do you think that Steph Curry is going to respond and comment on any of this? Do you think maybe, I don't know, if I were sitting on the chair of this nonprofit, I'd probably want Steph Curry fired for being a bad spokesman.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so he's going to not talk about this at all. He's not going to mention it. It's going to be that omission thing that they do. Yeah, he's going to pretend that didn't happen, because that would go against their two-caste communist system, or whatever they're aiming for right now. So they have to keep the moral high ground while also trying to divide people and erase the middle class, essentially.
Yeah, it makes sense, but at the same time, it's quite shameful. Josie, it's great to have you on from Timcast News. Appreciate you making the time today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.